Hi everyone and welcome back to the first few hours of Civilization 6. So, let's continue where we left off. I'm still preparing to go to war with Monty. In fact, I will be queuing up a catapult right now because we need at least one catapult, I would say. So there it is. We'll get one in 2 turns, which is pretty good. We also got another envoy, which means we can get a new bonus. But I'm looking through all the bonuses right now. And this city-state, for example, has a combat strength boost to your units, as long as you're the civ with the most envoys in there, which in this case I was not. There are some really good bonuses in here. So, for example, the unique bonus for Lisbon was that your trader units are immune to being plundered on water tiles. That's a really good one, especially if you go to war a lot. And the unique bonus for Hattusa was that you get one of each strategic resource that you have revealed but do not own. I quite like that one too. That's basically the never lucky city-state bonus. Or the no coal hype city-state bonus. I'll just say again what I said in my earlier episodes. I think the city-states will be a really important part of Civ 6. Even more important than Civ 5. You can kind of ignore city-states in Civ 5, depending on your strategy. But in Civ 6, some of these bonuses are really damn powerful. So they will really be worth competing for. Monty looks like he's really undecided about what he wants to do with Preslav. He had quite a few units around there, but he's not actually doing anything with it. Oh, also, the aqueduct is basically a placeholder, in case you were wondering what's going on there. So yeah, now you know. And in general, remember that the game isn't coming out until October the 21st. So there is still quite a bit of development time. And quite a few things are still in active development. So do not assume that everything you see here will be how the final game will work and look like. And here's Monty again. So you can see that the penalty for surprise war is already up to heavy. And it was moderate before. There's actually one point in the game where the penalty for declaring surprise war is really harsh, but you do not have the ability to declare formal wars just yet, because the ability to declare a formal war has to be unlocked through the civic tree. There are CBs in the game, as in casus bellis, that you can use. There are different types of CBs, but you have to actually unlock the ability to use them. And until that point, the only kind of war you can declare is a surprise war. And the penalty for that goes up over time. And it does get really damn harsh. At one point, if you declare a surprise war, everyone is mostly going to hate you. And here, I'm pretty sure we got Teddy's hidden agenda, because he's impressed with the depth of my scientific research. I'm pretty sure that's a message about his hidden agenda, just like the productivity thing from Monty earlier, for example. That's almost definitely it. The AIs are still trying hard to buy my great work, but it's not happening. I don't think I was actually supposed to get that great work when I did, but who knows. Anyway, we are about to finish military engineering, which will unlock armories, medieval roads, and military engineers. I don't think I actually recruited any military engineers in this game, but that's basically a unit that you can use to build your own roads. You don't have to rely on trade routes to actually do it, which makes it more convenient, but I wanted military engineering more for the armory than for the military engineer at this point, because of Monty and my plans to go to war with him. So I was trying to make some demands from Monty to see if that's actually going to work, but it did not work. He says he's going to accept, but he will not actually accept. I'm pretty sure some of the diplomatic dialogues are simply not done yet. But yeah, I switched to gold because I needed gold more than I needed anything else at this point. But as you can see, he will not accept. Making demands will get you nowhere, apparently. Now we can go back to research, and I can actually research gunpowder now, which was pretty much the plan with military engineering, because I already have a Eureka boost, and I will complete gunpowder in just 2 turns, which is pretty good. That gives us the first Renaissance tech on turn 85 on quick speed, and it gives me access to Maskedmen on turn 85. That is pretty good. But I did optimize my science a bit in order to get there. I got some Eureka bots on the way that helped get here faster, and the campus for Brazil is pretty damn good as well. Brazil is going to be a pretty strong science civ, at least that's how I feel, especially early on, because I assume they will have rainforest start bias, because, you know, that makes sense, which means they will be guaranteed to get jungles, which means you can always get adjacency bonus for campus. And that is going to be pretty strong. The campuses will be a relatively high percentage of your total science output early on. I think mine are like 1/3 of all my science at this point. And here we got inspiration boost for theology from a goodie hat. And I actually find that to be pretty interesting, because that means goodie hats can actually help you with your mid-game research even, which is not the case in Civ 5. You can get techs for free from goodie hats in Civ 5, but only early game techs. And here it looks like you can get inspiration and Eureka boosts even for mid-game techs from goodie hats. Now, I wouldn't go as far as saying it's worth not picking them up until later, because you can also get things like a builder for free, and that's a really nice boost early on, but it's definitely worth looking for them. Sometimes you can find a goodie hat on like an island that no one really bothered to go to in the mid-game, and it will definitely be worth going out of your way to pick up any goodie hats you might still find in the mid-game. We'll be declaring war on Monty soon after gunpowder is finished, by the way. In hindsight, it was better to do it earlier than that, but this game was more about testing and showcasing new Civ 6 mechanics than playing an actual quote-unquote proper game, whatever that means. But yes, the war is coming very soon, in the next 2 turns. And here I built a lumber mill specifically to get a Eureka boost, in case you're wondering. I did plan quite a lot of these Eureka boosts around 10 turns in advance, which is kind of what you'll have to do in Civ 6. If you really want to optimize your science, you will have to plan 10 to 15 turns in advance. It will make a big difference in how fast you get various techs. And you will not get these Eureka boosts just by playing and not thinking about it. You will get some of them, but if you actually go out of your way to plan them in advance, your research will go so much faster, way faster. I actually quite like that, because it makes research more engaging. You don't just click on a tech and then forget about it until it's done. And in fact, I got this question a few times: what am I looking forward to the most in Civ 6? And that's what I'm looking forward to. The fact that one of the goals behind Civ 6 seems to be to make it a less passive game. Because in Civ 5, you sometimes get into these situations where you basically just click end turn, end turn, end turn while you're waiting for something to happen. It's one of the reasons why I like warmongering. In Civ 5, it's just a more interesting playstyle for me. There's less passiveness when you're going for domination. And from my experience with Civ 6 so far, this seems to be one of the very obvious design goals here. Anyway, we just finished both gunpowder and civil service, and civil service unlocks 2 pretty decent policies. One of them is meritocracy, which gives us +1 culture for each specialty district the city constructs, and it also gives us the ability to get amenities from garrison. So these are both pretty good. And gunpowder also unlocks the new strategic resource, niter, which is required for gunpowder units, as you no doubt figured out by now. And I actually got pretty lucky here, because my city to the north is founded literally on top of niter. So that means I actually got it instantly as soon as I finished gunpowder. That was quite lucky, I have to say. And now we need to pick our new research, and I think I'll just go for shipbuilding at this point, especially since I actually have a city-state quest to research shipbuilding, so that was one of the reasons why I went for it. And we will also grab theology, since we have an inspiration boost for that. Also, we will be declaring war on Monty on this turn, And this will actually be a good demonstration of how harsh diplomatic penalties get for surprise wars later into the game. Because the warmonger penalty for declaring war now will go up to egregious. And that's pretty bad. It's a good way to make everyone hate you. And in order to declare a formal war, you actually need diplomatic service, civic, which I do not have here. So I cannot actually declare a formal war at this point. I will make peace with China first, because it doesn't really make any sense to be at war with two civs at the same time. Having said that, the warmonger penalty that I'll get for declaring war on Monty might make other civs declare war on me. So that is a thing that might happen. But it will be a good showcase of how harsh the diplomatic penalties will get for declaring surprise wars later. My impression is that declaring a surprise war later into the game will be just as bad or worse than backstabbing a civilization that you had declaration of friendship with in Civilization 5. And this is still late medieval, early Renaissance era. Imagine how much worse it's going to be in, let's say, industrial or modern, or basically in the late game. So the way I see it, you will probably pretty much have to use CBs, but there's still an option to declare war without them, if you want to be literally Hitler or whatever. But the game will not force you to use them, you will just get penalized if you don't. But yes, apparently we are literally Hitler for declaring war on Monty right now. Even though he was the first one to declare war on us, but who would care about details like that, right? He's just a peaceful guy. And we're the bad guys here, apparently. He does have quite a few units around here. So we will start killing them. I pretty much have to clear them before I really go for the city itself, because we can't afford to get attacked from the back while attacking the city. That would be pretty bad. We do, however, have a great general, and we will get a catapult, so it's not too bad. And we have a knight. A knight is pretty good against eagle warriors and slingers. I'm a little bit surprised that he's still using a slinger here, but whatever. And while his unique unit is pretty good, it's a little bit outdated at this point, and we got a Eureka moment for military service, so that is quite nice. And one of the goals for this war was to check out the city siege mechanics, see how that works. Now, I could have built a siege tower to bypass the city walls, that is a thing you can do, but I didn't do it because I wanted to see how hard it will be to actually destroy the city walls instead of bypassing them. And we will be doing that. The city siege mechanics are quite different compared to Civ 5. But you'll see once we actually get started on that, which isn't just yet. And Cleopatra is already denouncing us. Apparently we are worse than Brutus and Cassius combined. I'm basically hated or at least disliked by pretty much every Civ I made contact with at this point. But it's okay, we are doing it for science. Also, we are about to finish Theology, which will unlock one of the new wonders. Unfortunately, it's hard to really judge how good that wonder is, because it's a religious wonder, and religion wasn't really available to play with in this build. It also unlocks a policy that gives you plus 100% adjacency bonuses for holy sites. So that's a pretty good one if you are focused on faith. And there will be reasons to be focused on faith, let's just say. And now I have to make a pretty tough decision, because I do not have any boosts for any policies. I was almost considering Naval Tradition, because that was the cheapest one, and I definitely wasn't going to get an inspiration boost for that, but I ended up going for Medieval first, because that unlocked a few new policies, and one of them looked pretty good for gold. That's the one that gives plus 1 gold for every envoy sent to a city-state. That's pretty decent for gold. And I still wanted gold at that point of the game, because I still had quite a lot of units that required upgrades. I also wasn't going to maintain 4 trade routes anytime soon, so it made no real sense to delay that civic. You know, I wish I had more time to play this than I did, because there were still so many things that I wanted to test and check out, but unfortunately that was not the case. Then again, that's Civ for you. It's that one more turn syndrome. There is never a good time to stop playing. Not really. But we're not quite done here yet. There are still things that are going to happen. There's still some action. So don't worry about that. You hear that, Monty? We are coming for you. I don't think he cares. But he certainly should. Also, shipbuilding is almost done, and then we can research something slightly more interesting. And since I still need quite a lot of gold, I will send a trader out to Lisbon. That's plus 9 gold. That is pretty good. The best option in this situation, pretty much. At least the terrain is very open, so that definitely makes our life easier. If I had a lot of jungles to the east between me and Monty, this would have been harder. Or at least it would be longer, that's for sure. Unfortunately, our warrior won't be discovering much more. I don't think so. He should probably get out of there before he gets killed. That sounds like a good idea to me. And here's America also denouncing us. Apparently they think we're a warmonger. I have no idea why they would ever think that. We're peaceful people. And notice how he mostly didn't care about us until this point, because he's on another continent. So he didn't care about our war. Our warrior is about to have a bad time. But he mostly did his job. He uncovered quite a lot of terrain. It's a shame I didn't find any more interesting natural wonders, because there are some other new natural wonders. I was hoping to find some, but that didn't happen, which is a bit of a shame. And yeah, you can see that most of the AIs hate me at this point, at least the ones that I actually made contact with. These were all that I met in this game. And here we got shipbuilding. That unlocks the Colossus, but we will not be building that. I don't think anyone actually built it, though. We'll get some more experience. I like how Monty actually started attacking city-state now. It's a little bit strange. But oh well, that's his problem. Still, it would have been better to just attack my units, you know, instead of going for the city-state. 190 gold to upgrade to a knight. Not cheap. Definitely not. And I'm still trying to get rid of that barbarian camp. Maybe get a little bit of gold from it, that's one of my goals here. Actually get the gold from that camp. Because our income is not exactly amazing, let's just say. One thing I do like is that AI actually backs up with wounded units. It doesn't throw them away, like it tends to do in Civ 5. That happens quite frequently in Civ 5. I really do hope the AI will be smarter in Civ 6. The thing is, it kind of has to be smarter, because there are a lot of mechanics that are more complex than in Civ 5. So it has to be smarter to be able to use them reasonably well, let's just say. Unfortunately, we still only have one crossbowman. I really could have used more gold at this point. Would have been a good idea to build under a commercial hub, perhaps. But there was no time for that here. And now we can go for military tactics, which will unlock the pikemen. And the military tactics also unlocks a wonder, the Huey Teocalli. I think that's going to be part of the Aztec Civ. And it's a wonder that gives you +1 amenity from entertainment for each lake tile within one tile of Huey Teocalli. And more importantly, it also gives you +1 food and +1 production for each lake tile in your empire. And it must be built on a lake tile adjacent to land. So that's a pretty good wonder. And Cleopatra denounced us, but she thinks our empire is impressive, because of number of people who live here. Maybe she has split personality. But again, that had to be her hidden agenda. At least I assume that's what it was. Oh, and here's a mechanic that really surprised me, that I had no idea about until this point. Our unit was captured by the Aztecs because he was too far away from our territory? Or at least it looks like that was the case. So that's kind of interesting. I had no idea there was a mechanic like this until this happened. So there you go. And on that note, I'm going to finish this episode here and continue in next one. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.